two warriors, two civilizations, 2,000 years apart, and tonight they fight. The Spartan, born into Sparta's iron crucible, by age 7, stripped from his family and handed to the army. The samurai, forged through decades of discipline so complete that he has made peace with death before ever entering battle. One is a human wall of bronze and violence. The other is the most precise killing instrument ever built by any civilization. We ran 1,000 simulations. We analyzed every weapon, every armor, every advantage, every weakness. This is Deadliest Warrior. And tonight, we find out who walks away. Sparta, 480 BC, a city-state of roughly 20,000 people that somehow managed to terrorize an entire civilization. The Agoge, that is what they called the training. Boys taken from their mothers at age 7. By age 20, the Spartan is a professional soldier, not a farmer who occasionally fights, not a nobleman who trains on weekends. A full-time, lifelong, professional machine of war. Feudal Japan, the Sengoku period, the age of warring states. Japan is tearing itself apart for 150 years of continuous civil war. Out of that chaos, the samurai is perfected. Bushido, the way of the warrior. The samurai does not simply train his body. He trains his relationship with death itself. Morning meditation, evening sword practice. The acceptance that every day could be his last, and the decision that this is fine. At his peak, the samurai is 5'5", 140 pounds, against the Spartans 5'11" and 185 pounds of pure muscle. Stat comparison. Spartan, training begins at age 7. Active combat service from 20 to 60. Primary kill zone, frontal line combat within spear distance. Samurai, training begins at age 5. Active service for life. Kill zone, any range, any direction. The Xiphos, 18 inches of leaf-bladed iron. The Spartan's backup weapon, but make no mistake. The katana, 28 inches. Forge folded 1,000 times until the carbon distribution in the steel is so perfect. The Xiphos is made of iron, smelted and hammered in a Greek forge using technology that was impressive for its era. The katana is made of tamahagane, literally jewel steel. The forge process alone takes 3 days. Material science comparison. Xiphos edge angle, 30 degrees. Katana edge angle, 22 degrees. A lower edge angle means a more acute cutting geometry. The katana's edge is sharper at the molecular level. The Xiphos compensates with weight and impact force. Xiphos cutting test results. The iron blade delivers devastating blunt trauma and lacerations. Against unarmored flesh, lethal. Tamashijiri, the traditional Japanese sword test. A katana cut through a rolled tatami mat, which approximates the resistance of human limbs. Spartan fighting style with Xiphos. Thrust dominant. Short blade means short reach, 42 inches total from shoulder. Compensated by shield, which controls opponent's weapon hand. The samurai katana reach, 68 inches. That's 26 inches longer than the Spartan's Xiphos kill zone. In a sword-only scenario, the samurai dictates the range. He chooses when contact happens. Iron Xiphos equivalent versus high-carbon steel katana equivalent. After 3 direct parries at combat force, Xiphos shows deep notches along the edge. Katana, no measurable damage. The metallurgy gap is decisive. Close range verdict. Xiphos, 7.2 out of 10. Brutal and effective in its context. Katana, 9.1 out of 10. Superior in every measurable dimension. Edge, samurai. The Dori spear, 8 feet of ash wood. Iron leaf head at the front. Bronze sword or spike at the base. The primary weapon of the Spartan warrior, not the sword. The Yumi longbow, 7 feet tall. Asymmetric, the grip sits 1/3 from the bottom, not at the center. This creates a unique draw dynamic that generates extraordinary power. The Yumi has a draw weight of 100 pounds. It fires armor-piercing arrows at 150 feet per second. Dori throw physics. A trained Spartan can hurl the Dori with approximately 1,200 newtons of force. Effective range, 15 meters. Maximum range, 30 meters. Japanese war arrow with Kyoyanon armor-piercing tip, fired at 30 meters. Target, bronze plate equivalent to Greek shield backing. Result at direct angle, partial penetration. Result at oblique angle, deflection. The Spartan's curved shield is specifically designed to exploit this. But the Yumi finds gaps. Thigh above the bronze greave. Inner arm. Face behind the Corinthian helmet's cheek guard. The samurai archer aims for the gaps, not the armor. At 50 meters, he has the accuracy to do exactly that. Tactical calculation. 50 meters starting gap. Spartan sprints at 6 meters per second. Closing time, 8.3 seconds. Samurai fires 1 arrow every 3 seconds. Result, 3 arrows before contact. If one finds a gap, the Spartan enters close combat already wounded. Naginata alternative. Some samurai carry the naginata, a 6-foot pole with a 24-inch curved blade. This gives the samurai a polearm option at close to medium range, effectively countering the dory's reach advantage. Tactical depth. Spartan Akancha javelins. 2 lighter throwing spears carried as secondary weapons. Range, 25 meters. Force, less than the dory. But at 25 meters, a trained Spartan javelin throw has demonstrated historical effectiveness. These are his answer to the Yumi. Insufficient, but real. Long-range verdict. Spartan dory and javelins, 6.8 out of 10. Devastating in formation, less effective in single combat range game. Samurai Yumi, 8.5 out of 10. Decisive range advantage. Arrow finds armor gaps. Edge, samurai. But the Spartan is still closing. The Spartan panoply. Bronze. All of it. Corinthian helmet, 4.4 pounds. Bronze breastplate and backplate, 12 pounds. Bronze greaves, 4 pounds. The Aspi's shield alone, 16 pounds. Total armor weight, over 50 pounds. He carries this at a sprint. Every day, for 20 years of service. The Samurai Oyuroi. Iron and lacquered leather lamellar construction. Kabuto helmet with face mask, 8 pounds. Do chest armor, 15 pounds. Kotao arm guards, hide 8 thigh guards, Sunny 8 shin guards. Total package, 30 to 35 pounds. 17 pounds lighter than the Spartan. That is significant. Critical finding number 1. Bronze hardness, 40 to 50 Rockwell. Katana steel hardness, 58 to 65 Rockwell. Mathematical conclusion. The katana is hard enough to cut through the Spartan's bronze armor given sufficient force and edge angle. The Corinthian helmet is not impenetrable to the samurai's blade. Critical finding number 2. The samurai's lamellar armor is constructed from iron plates linked by leather lacing. The dory spear tip. Iron, heavy, driven by 185 pounds of Spartan muscle. Punches through that leather lacing at close range. The Oyuroi is not impenetrable to the Spartan's spear. Mobility comparison. Spartan in full panoply, mobility rating 6 out of 10. Measurable 15% speed reduction from armor weight. Samurai in full Oyuroi, mobility rating 8 out of 10. Speed reduction, 8%. The samurai moves significantly faster. He also turns faster. He recovers from stumbles faster. Sprint test, 40 meters in full armor. Spartan, 5.8 seconds. Samurai, 5.1 seconds. That is a 0.7 second gap over 40 meters, approximately 4 meters of distance. At combat range, 4 meters is the difference between dictating the fight and reacting to it. The Corinthian helmet problem. Inside the iconic helmet, field of vision is dramatically reduced. Forward tunnel vision, roughly 180 degrees. Side vision, near zero. The samurai's neck gap. The Oyuroi has a structural weakness at the throat and upper neck. Areas protected by the Mempo face mask, but with gaps at the sides. A precise katana cut or Zippo's thrust to this area bypasses the armor entirely. Every armor has its Achilles heel. The shield factor. This is the Spartan's most significant defensive advantage. The Aspi's covers 65% of his upper body in solid bronze. The samurai has no shield. 0. His defense is mobility, parrying with the blade, and armor coverage. Wet weather test. Bronze armor in rain. Weight unchanged. Surface becomes slippery, minor factor. Samurai lamellar in rain. Iron plates unaffected, but leather lacing absorbs water, increasing weight slightly and potentially stiffening. Bronze wins the wet weather analysis. Heat endurance. Bronze conducts heat. In Greek summer conditions, 35 Celsius, the Spartan's armor becomes an oven. The lamellar construction of the Oyuroi creates air gaps between plates, providing passive ventilation. In hot conditions, the samurai maintains combat effectiveness longer. Armor verdict. Spartan, 7.8 out of 10. Near impenetrable to iron, but heavy, slow, and blind on the flanks. Samurai, 8.2 out of 10. Lighter, better mobility, but cuttable by his opponent's own weapon. Edge, samurai, narrowly. The shield keeps this closer than the numbers suggest. 1,000 battles. Neutral terrain. Both warriors at full equipment. The simulation begins at 100 meters range. Standby. Phase 1, 100 to 60 meters. The samurai does not charge. He draws the Yumi. First arrow knocked. Loosed. Arrow flight time to target, 0.8 seconds. The Spartan has been trained his entire life for exactly this moment. Arrow strikes the Aspi's. The curved bronze face redirects it skyward. The Spartan advances. Second arrow. This one aimed lower, at the inner thigh gap above the greave. It finds the gap. The Spartan is wounded. He does not stop. This is the Agoge. You do not stop. Pain is not a signal to retreat. Pain is information. The Spartan's leg is bleeding. He is running. The shield is up. He has 45 meters to close. 30 meters. The samurai drops the Yumi. There is no time for another arrow. He draws the katana, two-handed grip, wide kami stance. This is his domain. But the Spartan still has the dory. At 30 meters, the spear still reaches. This is the most dangerous moment for the samurai. Contact. The dory thrust, 1,200 newtons of force behind an iron tip. The samurai deflects with the flat of the katana blade, redirecting the spear sideways. But the force pushes him back 2 steps. The Spartan is physically stronger. At close range, mass is a weapon. Inside the spear's reach now, the dory is useless. The Spartan drops it, draws the xiphos. Now, bronze shield wall and short iron blade versus the finest cutting weapon ever made. The samurai cuts to the Spartan's forearm above the greave. The Spartan drives the shield boss into the samurai's chest. Both warriors absorb punishment. Neither falls. The weight difference becomes a factor. 235 pounds of armored Spartan versus 173 pounds of armored samurai. The Spartan drives forward, a walking wall of bronze and muscle. The samurai is being pushed backward. Purely physically, the Spartan is winning this exchange. Simulation results: 1,000 battles complete. Spartan wins, 412. Samurai wins, 588. The samurai takes the simulation at 58.8%. The margin is not overwhelming. This Spartan pushed the finest warrior Japan ever produced to his absolute limit. Why the samurai wins? 3 decisive factors. Number 1, range control. The Yumi archery phase wounds the Spartan before contact. In 71% of simulations, the Spartan enters melee already damaged. Number 2, superior metallurgy. The katana cuts through bronze. The xiphos cannot damage the katana. Number 3, mobility. The lighter armor allows the samurai to exploit the Spartan's blind flanks. Why the Spartan wins 41% of the time? The shield. In scenarios where the Spartan successfully angles the aspes against arrow fire and closes without significant wounds, his physical mass, pain tolerance, and raw power overwhelm the samurai. The shield is the single biggest variable in this matchup. The decisive engagement. How the average winning battle unfolds. Samurai wounds Spartan with 2 arrow hits before contact. Spartan closes regardless. In melee, samurai exploits Corinthian helmet blind spot with lateral footwork. Katana cuts through bronze at armpit or back of knee. Spartan's greater wounds accumulate faster. Samurai wins on attrition. After the battle, the samurai sheaths his blade. He turns to the fallen Spartan. He bows. It is not ceremony. It is acknowledgement. In 1,000 years of sword culture, he has never fought anything like this. The Spartan, even dying, nods in return. Warriors understand warriors. Final scoreboard. Weapons, Spartan 7.2, Samurai 9.1. Armor, Spartan 7.8, Samurai 8.2. Range, Spartan 6.8, Samurai 8.5. Strength, Spartan 9.5, Samurai 7.0. Speed, Spartan 6.0, Samurai 8.0. Psychology, Spartan 9.0, Samurai 8.5. Overall, Spartan 75.3, Samurai 84.3. Winner, the Samurai. Not because the Spartan is lesser, but because the samurai's combination of range, metallurgy, and speed creates a gap that even the most extraordinary warrior civilization in Western history could not fully close. The deadliest warrior is the samurai. In reality, these warriors never met. An ocean and 2 millennia separated them, but history has something to say about both. Thermopylae, 480 BC, 300 Spartans, 300,000 Persians, 3 days. The hot gates held. Sparta did not survive, but the idea of Sparta survived everything. We still talk about them 2,500 years later. The Battle of Sekigahara, 1,600 AD, 160,000 samurai on a single battlefield. The largest clash of samurai forces in history. A single day that unified Japan for 265 years of peace. The samurai were not just fighters. They were civilization shapers. The Spartan legacy runs through Western military history like a bloodline. Roman legion formations borrowed from the phalanx. Modern military unit cohesion doctrine traces directly to Spartan training philosophy. Every military that trains its soldiers to fight for the man beside them is borrowing from Sparta. The samurai legacy shaped Japanese culture to its core. Calligraphy and poetry alongside the sword, because Bushido demanded both. Modern Japanese martial arts, Kendo, Judo, Aikido, are direct descendants. The discipline of modern Japanese corporate culture? Historians trace it to samurai work ethic. Neither of these men was just a warrior. Both of them were the highest expression of what their civilizations believed a human being could become. That is why we are still talking about them. That is why this fight still matters. If you want to know who we examine next, the vote is in the comments. Viking versus Zulu. Roman legionary versus Persian immortal. Navy SEALs versus Spetsnaz. Every matchup gets the same treatment. Same data. Same simulation. Same respect for both warriors. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Like this video if you want to see more historical matchups. And tell me in the comments, who did you think would win? Because 41% of you might disagree with the simulation. Let's hear it.